Chapter 12. All is not as it seems. After parting with the two mages, Baragara headed for a private office in a corner of the guild market. Locking the entrance door, he passed through the front reception room and entered the back office. He then opened the door to the wardrobe in the back. It was a nearly empty box with only one work outfit hanging there. Once he checked it, he closed the door. Baragara stepped in without hesitation, and the next moment he emerged from the wardrobe in Herrera's study in the Lord's mansion on the hill. Did it go well? Baragara said to Herrera, the Lord there. Of course, but they were both completely emptied. Of course, you'll have to pay for their refilling, right? The proof of that? No, the witness. If I had that, I could have all the nobles involved stripped of their titles. With the confiscated property, it should be easy to replenish it, right? And you've got the boy. Baragaru handed the packet of magic crystals to Herrera, who smiled. But as she accepted the package, her eyes turned grim, and a clear streak of blue appeared at her temple. Hey Baragaru, what's this cloth? Jovia said it was a cloth for sealing spells. What about it? That woman, my underwear. The expression on her face, which was still soft, turned into a Praetorian one. The synergistic effect of the inverted triangular glasses that she used to make her impression tougher, in an attempt to show her dignity as a lord, made her quite powerful. In other words, she was a raging demon. I thought it was a nice soft cloth, but... Really? I'm sure it has the family crest of the house in the embroidery design. Baragaru, didn't you notice? I thought it looked very familiar, but... Usually you don't think so, do you? So... You really don't think it's used or something? I'll kill her if you do that. She's your friend. You can laugh at her and forgive her. She's just a stupid dog. This goofy exchange made Baragaru breathe a sigh of relief, as if he had finally been relieved of the pressure of his duty. Then, as if in a home he knew well, he took out a bottle of his treasured wine from the small wine cellar next to the reception desk and uncorked it. The contents of the conversation were so important that no maid would stop him from doing so, as he was paying his dues. But either way, Baragaru was in a barroom mood and touched the maid's buttocks, so he couldn't be a deterrent and always left Herrera to her own devices. You're too stupid. You know how much trouble I'm in with that big idiot, don't you? From my point of view, they're both similar, but... I'd say you're a bit on the light side for Jovia, considering you're forgiving her for that level of sarcasm, just in case. Then you can tell me directly. I'll listen to your usual incomprehensible ramblings without complaining. I'll let you off the hook. Well, you were going to put your hand over your mouth, weren't you? She hates that about you. Sometimes it's better if you hit me. You know how much trouble she can get into if she keeps it all bottled up. I know just the thing to vent, so I'll just push it to him. That's Sena, as we all know. He knows just the thing to give to a peculiar older woman's toy. I'm sorry to hear that, as I'm sure you'll agree, but that's not a bad idea. Anyway, I'm going to use this one to vent on the damn things. Herrera looked at the package and smiled a cruel smile. It was an even more terrifying expression than her earlier predatory look. But even so, the royal family is very clever to intentionally leak a dangerous artifact and make people use it. The royal family is the reason why they had to do it in the first place, so it's even more frustrating. The overuse of knighthoods is a common practice in times of great wars when budgets are eaten up. Besides, no sane person would use a black cursed artifact. That's true, too. So when do we get the elixir? We are supposed to get one of the regular ones that Jovia has. Hey, the black curse salt is the most exquisite salt you could find, and you have a lot of it, don't you? Rare class can make it. So don't be stingy and tell them to give it to us. Jovia said, I'll give it to you if you don't mind the birth of an undead lord. I don't want any part of it. The legendary Lord of Death, who had turned every living thing on one continent into the undead. Hey, what's that? That's a disaster on par with the ancient dragon. In the first place, it is an elixir that cures all illnesses and even raises the dead. It's akin to turning a person into an undead person. The same is true of the extra potion, come to think of it. Even though it restores limb loss, it is only the person's normal limbs that are restored. It is common knowledge that a trained limb is not regenerated and that a period of rehabilitation is necessary afterwards. But when it was not so well known, there were many accidents caused by it. In other words, someone who had an accident in combat and thought that as long as he drank the extra potion, he could continue fighting in the same condition would be hit by the poor regenerative limbs. The elixir is like a 1 or 2 gamble when there is nothing you can do. So when it comes to using it safely and reliably, it's please follow the dosage directions. Even court magicians know that much, don't they? Knowing it and being able to use it are 2 different things, he said. And anyone who tried to rely on that kind of thing was definitely not in a sane state of mind. Of course he'd overdo it. He said, "Well, you know more about that kind of gossip than I do, don't you?" It's okay. If he's going to destroy himself, he's going to destroy himself, and it's none of our business. Even if that were the case, a bottle of Jovia's is also 3 times more potent than normal, so you said that a similar accident might happen. Incidentally, if you don't drink it, it doesn't matter, he said smugly, but Baragaru didn't tell her and cut it off because it didn't make sense. I hate that girl. Oh, she's not old enough to be my daughter anymore. Herrera turned away with a miffed look on her face, perhaps frustrated that he had read her mind. Well, that part was mutual, but Baragaru swallowed his words. I've already put a bug on Gando, so I'll leave the rest to you. I've already sent the bees after that one. Reports say he's already out of town. I've also got the Pitto hive under surveillance. So, I guess this means the little prank on the house is off the hook, huh? He gulped down his glass of wine as if he had no more use for this place. He put the lid on the wine, put it in his magic bag, and stood up. Baragaru. Sorry for making you feel bad about your job. That's exactly what I wouldn't have minded if you hadn't interfered with the little guy at home. Baragaru responded to Herrera's honest apology with a flippant remark. If the Mabia souvenir is real, I'm going to have to ask for your pardon, Baragaru replied. Oh, but by all means, push it to Jovia. Thus, Sena was sacrificed to the talented pervert. I see, Cheeto's father. Baragaru returned home via the guild office. He called Sena into the parlor and explained what had happened, not, of course, the truth as it was. Sena was prepared for this to some extent and listened calmly. The residents could not rest easy knowing that a forbidden magic artifact was used in the city, and more than anything else, that little boy must be shocked. If the body was still in decent condition, they could have him buried. So, ostensibly, he would be sent to the island as a criminal slave, where he would do hard labor for the rest of his life. Okay, so what about Cheeto? I've already taken him to see his mother. She's a strong woman, so don't worry. We've also made arrangements for some of the confiscated assets to be paid to you and Cheeto, who are the victims. I know there are a lot of emotional reasons why that's not the end of it, but his father was working with those guys, so he deserved what he got. If it's possible, I'd appreciate it if you'd give Cheeto my share of the money. I'm sorry, but that would mean declining the kid's share and not giving it to him after you've received it. But there's more to it than that. Isn't there some Pitto-related money in the kid's custody? That's right. However, make sure you split the money in 3 equal parts. Money over and above the correct remuneration is often harmful. Understood. Yes, that's right. Big money required experience to spend it. As much as you could earn, you could train yourself, but beyond that, it was a one-time gain. It was not possible to train continuously, and often one lost one's livelihood. If that was the case, it was best not to take it, or if you did take it, not to use it at all. Don't be so disappointed. Don't be discouraged, but that won't stop us from selling prosciutto and extra potion. If you add those to the total, it's a lot of money. Oh, that's right. Sena agreed, remembering their reaction when they heard the amount of money prosciutto was getting. Anyway, I'm sure that little boy is also talking with his mother about the future. I don't know what will happen tomorrow as a result of that, but if it looks like it's just the 2 of them, the little boy and Gushika, we can bring in the other abductees. The next morning, Sena went to the guild's auditorium as usual, and there, next to Gushika, was Cheeto. And with a beaming smile, he bowed deeply to Sena. Cheeto, are you okay? Yes. I had a good talk with my mom and we slept together last night. There was a look of happiness and deep relief that he could be with his mother. Above all, he was full of life, without his usual somewhat languid mood. Thinking back, it was doubtful that he could have slept properly with his father. I've been talking about Dad. Actually meeting with Mom for a little while now. Thanks to my brother, I've been able to make more money in the real world, and my dad has been away from home more often, so Raska has been talking to us here and there, and the parents of the kids, who had been avoiding us, were starting to care a little bit more about us. There was Cheeto's dad, but the fact that our party was getting higher grades was a big part of it. And the guild people are also starting to help us out a lot. Cheeto's mother was an active hunter-adventurer. With the guild staff and the parents of the Pitto boy working together, it would be easy to bring the two together without Cheeto's father noticing. I didn't know that. I guess it's partly because the higher-ups in the guild who were messing with Sana are gone, and the atmosphere has become more open. I think the smooth progression of business has also been a big factor. Yes, that's true. Communication has improved, and there's a sense that the staff is more proactive in a lot of ways. I was thinking about my dad, and I was thinking that one day this would happen to him, but I have a mom and a sister. Because parties are like family. Gushika smiled as she placed her hand on Cheeto's shoulder. She seemed more relieved by the situation than Cheeto. But I'm sorry, bro, Mom actually wanted to thank you, but she had a quest that she couldn't miss, and she said we could meet again later. My worries are taken care of. You can take your time when you're more settled. But then Cheeto will be at. I can take you to my house now, and you can have your meals and baths here, and then you can go home to sleep. I don't need to take a bath for a day or two, Gush. Gushika's hand on Cheeto's shoulder squeezed and shushed him. Sana, big brother. Please help me again. Yeah, I've got to make sure I don't worry your mother. Well, let's refresh our spirits and do our best today. But I'm in a high mood, and in times like this, I need to be calm as usual. Those are also the words Sana told himself, because in his experience, these were the most dangerous times. Thanks to Sana's advice and attention to detail, the day's Pitto hunt ended without injury. Cheeto's good memory was also his learning ability. He remembered Sana's every word accurately and was slowly beginning to show the flexibility to use it in other situations as well. Unfortunately, he was not as good in that respect, but he had accumulated a large amount of information and had a high search ability that allowed him to retrieve it instantly. He was not the type of person who knew 10 things when he heard one, but when he heard 10 things, he never forgot them. Most hunter-adventurers were party members, so what Cheeto lacked in ability, the others could make up for, and Cheeto had abilities that the others did not. And, most importantly, with the father's problem solved, Sana's party and the atmosphere around them was good. In a sense, today was the day when the party's abilities, along with the knowledge it had accumulated, were maximally demonstrated. Well, today went well, didn't it? As usual, Sana went to the bath first, and after making Cheeto faint in agony, he and Gushika washed the women's hair, limited to 10, and took their seats after being handed a pot with a generous serving at the cafeteria. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for everything you have done for me today. Thanks to you, big brother, I've experienced a lot and I've gained a lot of confidence. I'm glad to hear you say that. In fact, for quite some time now, Sana had been using no abilities at all and letting the two of them lead the hunt. He was confident that this would work well enough with whomever they worked with. You're done with me for today, but have you two decided what you're going to do after this? About that, actually, Raska-san has asked me if she could join us after my brother is out. Huh? But is that okay when she has a party to go to? She said that the party with those boys is breaking up. She told me that too. Did they get into a fight? Sana's concern was about the ensuing feud. He was worried that the two boys from Raska's party might harbor resentment toward Gushika and the others. No, Gushika said. I'm not worried about that. It was just that when they teamed up with us and hunted with us, they realized that they had clearly different goals for each other's future, so they want to build a party for the future now. I see, but you are very solid. At that age, some people start doing things like apprenticeships for hunter-adventurers who hunt in the vicinity. At 15, they are officially recognized as hunter-adventurers, but either way, a year before that, they graduate from Pitto hunting and begin their training in the nearby magical sea of trees, so this is a prelude to that. If a party is doing well during Pitto hunting, they often keep that party when they become hunter-adventurers. In this city, many would-be hunter-adventurers come from the neighborhood, so it's easy to form a party, but it's hard to find a good match, and it takes time to get used to each other. I see. As I recall, they said they wanted to go to the abyss of the Sea of Magic, but if that's the case, they want to sort out their party while they still can. But I heard the basic party is 5 people. When 3 people are the core, it's easier to form a party, and it's also easier to pass opinions since there are so many. You've got a lot to think about. But are you sure Cheeto is okay with that? I haven't decided what I want to do yet, so I'll think long and hard about it. I'm not going to be a Pitto boy forever. There are a lot of things I have to learn here. I see. If you need any help, I'm here for you. Sana was happy to see such positive signs. By the way, Gushika and Cheeto both had a second helping each and finished 2 buckets of that pot. Maybe? That means they were so anxious that they had no appetite. If so, it was worth all the trouble. But that didn't mean that Sana's appetite or the amount of food he could eat would increase. As usual, Sana's cauldron and half of the 2 loaves of bread were gratefully stockpiled. Thanks for all your hard work today, kid. I'm glad you made it anyway. I'm glad you made it too, and today's results put you in 8th place out of all the parties. Back in the auditorium, Baragaru was in charge of presenting the day's results, just as he had been the first day. I guess we didn't get first place, as expected. I guess it was a little difficult because of the river entering the place. Instead, I learned a lot. Yeah, it was fun. Basically, there was no doubt that Pittos don't like water. If there was another route to escape, it was only natural that they would choose that route. So when the riverfront came in, the number of nests would decrease a bit. Don't be so pessimistic. This is the top of the all-time list for captures and weight in this section of the river. The party in charge of this area has been ranked 50th in the past, so 8th place is a pretty good result. It's a good thing to be consistent even in these difficult conditions, so keep up the good work. Baragaru's words of praise made both Gushika and Cheeto's jaws drop. Well, the total number of Pittos is 188, weighing 676.8 kilograms, or 338,400 yen in total. That's for 100,000 yen. That place is difficult to conquer, so it seems the individuals were larger as well as the forest. It was Cheeto who seemed the most relieved and happy to hear Baragaru's words. After all, this time the money distributed to him would be his earnings. In a way, it was like a starting salary for him. Next, as an additional reward, we finally finished the first day's survey of the forest. I would have done the survey more quickly if the Guild of Magical Apothecaries guys hadn't persisted. Well, it's a prosciutto deal, but anyway, no queens or kings were identified. And the map you guys made was confirmed to be almost right. Almost, sir? Almost. Various guys got in and made a lot of holes, so the Pitto was on alert and dug new passages here and there. So that's why the information was changed to add to it. But the location of the burrow itself was accurate, so you'll be paid an additional 500,000 yen. Well, that's... Now all 3, including Sana, looked surprised. Do you think that's a lot? But the success rate and danger of a quest can vary greatly depending on the availability and accuracy of prior information. Some fools disregard investigative work and look down on those who do it, but the research and information are worth it. In terms of this forest plot, I'd estimate that the number of Pittos captured will increase by 30%, so that amount is justified. I see. That's certainly true. Along with Sana, Gushika and Cheeto also deeply affirmed. It was from places like this that they gained the knowledge they needed as hunter-adventurers. Next, regarding the prosciutto. We also got the auction results of the extra potion made from it. Well, I can't tell you the price and quantity of that bid because it's classified, but your share is 11.7 million yen. Sana and the kids were wide-eyed at this amount of money, as if they had no idea what they were getting into. It was a miracle that they did not raise their voices, or rather, they were too shocked to speak. Finally, 3 million yen will be paid as a special reward for the month. Already the amount of money seemed too big to wrap their heads around. Gushika and Cheeto in particular were half-conscious because the digits to be calculated were larger than usual. This guy is like buying your future, and he wants to keep the best people around. But it's the result of a number of rather unorthodox circumstances that would result in an amount like this. The breakdown of the special merit rewards is confidential, so just think of it as, well, a lot of things happened. Baragaru. If that's all, I'd like that one, please. Oh, I've done the math. Baragaru grinned and offered Gushika and Cheeto the note that was tucked into the ledger book. What? Gushika covered Cheeto's mouth as he tried to raise his voice as usual. After a few moments, when Cheeto had calmed down, she asked several times if he was okay, and then removed her hand. What is this about, brother? But Cheeto's eyes, which seemed to have calmed down, were vacant. And Gushika also looked a little confused. This is exactly 1/3 of the total earnings for this month. That's what you're getting paid. I told you on the first day, didn't I? I said I'll take it. What? Cheeto looked at Gushika, seemingly unable to swallow immediately. In response, Gushika gently tapped him on the shoulder and affirmed. She had understood the meaning of Seina's words from the beginning. But brother, this is a little too much. Well, I didn't expect it to be this much either. But it looks like it's safe to give it to you now. Of course, it will be in the form of savings to the guild, but I'm sure your mother has already been briefed on the situation. But because it's your just reward. A little more is better for your future. Brother. Cheeto. And Gushika too. Baragaru began to speak with a sense of finality. This is also a test for you. A test, you say? Yes. Hunter adventurers are sometimes rewarded in such a big way. But there are also those who let it get the best of them. They may hate the simple work, find it boring, or take on quests that are not worth their size in order to get a higher reward. Dad. It is unfortunate, but in a way fortunate, to have such examples close to home. I've learned the consequences of that. Don't let that happen to you. Be careful that you don't. Yes. Cheeto and Gushika affirmed as if to punctuate Baragaru's words. Incidentally, later that day, Cheeto received a payment in the hundreds of millions related to the Salt of Black curse, and both mother and son were devastated. Fortunately, Cheeto's mother, a veteran hunter and adventurer, was able to continue her normal life with the help of Gushika's family. If this were between two adults, we would be celebrating in a bar or somewhere. I'm still a minor myself. Either way, I'm never going to drink. Gushika and Cheeto were sent home with a guild escort to discuss this matter with their parents as soon as possible. The guild and Baragaru agreed that Gushika's father would take his place. Baragaru. I'm sure you'll be fine, but what kind of person are the two parents? Seina asked as he made his way to Baragaru's office, mindful of the now empty auditorium. Gahahaha. Are you worried that the amount is getting much bigger than you thought? Then don't worry. Both parents are active intermediate and advanced level hunter adventurers. There's no need to worry about that much money. You can leave the teaching of the kids to me. I see. That's a relief. But it's a crazy amount of money for a couple of pedo kids to make in a month. It's going to take some time to convince them of that. Huh. Well, anyway, this has lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders. It's hard to be the one to mentor others, isn't it? And you seemed more comfortable with it than I thought you would be, huh? Seina, you have a great deal of experience as the Kamidake's captain, even if you are just a decoration. Is that what it is? No experience is ever wasted. Baragaru and Seina entered the office and were cut off from the noise outside. Sitting down on the sofa, they took out a cup of tea from the magic box, which they had purchased from a coffee shop along the way. Anyway, thanks for your hard work. This time around, I know that you are well qualified. I'm sure the higher-ups at the guild are satisfied now. What happened? That goblin kid was hanging around. He even put a watch on my house. Oh, I see. Oh, you noticed. Good. Baragaru folded his arms and nodded in satisfaction. The goblin boy himself has no power, but he still gets a certain amount of treatment if he gives his family's name. That's why they were spreading rumors about you all over the place. So the guild became suspicious of me? But if the guild saw that you would benefit them, they would be more willing to protect you. We've done a lot of cleaning up, and the atmosphere is much better, so I don't think they'll be fooled by the rumors of the goblin kid, who had a bad reputation to begin with. Oh, by the way, he spoke to me at the museum the first day I went outside. I left him to the people who were looking for him and left, but I didn't report it because it didn't matter, should I have. I'm not a kid, I wouldn't interfere that much. Nana reported it to me, and I didn't ask you anything, did I? Well, that's the thing. He couldn't fool you, he got caught by the people he fooled. He was in a tight spot and went around blabbing about you. Huh? So it's my fault they suspected me? Sooner or later, the same thing would have happened, although we'd have been grateful for the help we got in finding the troublesome people who were connected with Cheeto's father. It's not just the guilds that got a good cleaning, but the city as well. My only regret is that we couldn't expel the Goblin Kid from the guild, but I'm sure the Gingham Goblin Kid's own family would not approve of such an ugly story. I guess political considerations are unavoidable. It could blow up anywhere, but it happened here, and no one believed it. Either way, they'll never hang around us again. Sounds like it was a brilliant bait and switch. I see. So that's what changed in the guild. Not all of them, but some of them were wary of the atmosphere, but Sena didn't mind since it was normal for him to be looked at that way on Earth. This means that your mission is accomplished. You'll get 10 million as a special reward. But you'll be giving it to me right away, gahahaha. I'm surprised there is a reward. It's the same as a pedo hunt, where if you make a move, you'll be rewarded accordingly. The guild's cleanup alone will bring in enough money to cover the costs of waste, improve efficiency, and reward the city's public safety. I could have offered more, but considering that it's you who is Mabia's beloved, I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to make a loan to the top, gahahaha. Oh, I see. Anyway, the groundwork has been laid. You have been accepted by the city and the guild, so we can move on to the next stage. The next step? I know you're going to be a hunter-adventurer. Or would you still rather be a pedo boy? Of course I want to be. I will be. Hunter-adventurer. I had so much fun hunting pedos, I forgot about it. Gahahaha. That's good. Anyone who enjoys pedo hunting has the qualities of a hunter-adventurer. Then let's go to the official registration tomorrow, shall we? Yes, sir. Sena affirmed with a big smile. It was similar to the elation of going out into space for the first time. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, but please don't forget your purpose. I haven't forgotten about it. That's what hunter-adventurers are for. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun, right? Because we are adventurers, right? Once in space, Sena found a much larger place and more accepting people than on Earth. At the same time, it was also a way of entering the framework of society. Although it was a joy to be needed, Sena's effect was so great and so far-reaching that it didn't feel real. The fundamentals were the same here, but the steps were slower and more visible. It was direct in what results one's work and how one was compensated for it. The more pedos you hunted, the more money you made. It was that simple. I can be an adventurer. Suppressing a desire to shout out with glee, Sena followed Baragaru's lead with a light footstep.